Okay. Okay, let's see. Okay. So, according to the YouTubes, we are now live, Uncle Mosh.
Nice. We love being live.
Hello, YouTube. Thank you
Hello.
for joining us here for another fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio. Appreciate you guys.
Hello in the tube world.
And the tubes.
Why aren't we playing tubes music here? Oh, because we didn't pay for it.
Well, yeah, you can't do that. Yeah, yeah.
Can we say it?
There you go. Now you should be live on your camera.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
Say hi to the YouTubers.
Hey, YouTubers.
Okay, and then here's mine. So hi, YouTubers. All right, and then so we got the chat going there. Let's see, top chat, live chat. That's what we want. Okay, back to the fan cave.
Oh, this is just riveting.
Well, it's
riveting
supposed
television.
It's supposed to be a soft rollout because the idea is that you start the YouTube live. That way, people get notified, and then they come in. So the podcast won't start until we hit the music.
Oh, okay. Okay, so people are like putting their lawnmowers away and stuff right now.
Yeah, they're getting notifications on their phone. They're going, oh, look, the Raiders Fan Radio guys are live right now.
Yeah, they're grabbing a hunk of French bread and some salami, and they're going to sit in front of their computer.
You know, once upon a time, we were the most mowed to podcast in the history of Raiders podcasting.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and so we were hoping to be number one in pressure washing your house and also laying out by the pool. We fell just a bit short on pressure washing your house.
You know why?
But what?
Because I tried to do that. I tried to have the headset on while I was pressure washing. Everything got ruined.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
But I think we were number one in snow blowing. Hey, Raider Brandon just jumped in. He grabbed a couple of beers, he said.
Nice, Raider Brandon. Love him.
I think that's the time to then officially start the podcast. What do you think, Uncle Mosh?
Hit it. Raider. Turn on a flashlight, flip a light switch, strike a match. Just light something on fire. Welcome to Murph's Fan Cave from the Dago Dungeon. Join me, Uncle Mosh, as we join Raiders Fan Radio, taking a lighter journey into the dark side.
Okay, we're back. Look left, look right, Balaknikov, a leaping pass, touchdown!
We miss you, we love you, and we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
Intercepted by Khalil Mack. Touchdown! Raiders!
The Oakland Raiders have scored on the most seamless, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play.
Well, I love this team. I think this team can win. I think this team can win.
What is up, Raider Nation? Welcome into another fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio. Your old buddy Murph here for episode number 87 of Raiders Fan Radio, and supplying the woos on today's episode. The one and only Uncle Mosh. Uncle Mosh, welcome to another episode of Raiders Fan Radio.
I've dropped a few woos here and there, but I don't know that I've ever been called a woo supplier.
Hey, when you need woos.
When you need woos, call your old Uncle Mosh. Just
right.
hit me on the twit.
That's exactly. Yeah. The Twit Pro. The Twit Pro.
Yeah.
Well, anyways, welcome to another episode of Raiders Fan Radio. Thank you as always, for joining us here in the most unnewsworthiest time of the year to be to not only an NFL fan but an Oakland Raiders fan. There's just not a lot going on, but heck, man, what better way to pass the time for starting Raiders football fans than to talk a little bit of Raiders football, even when there's anything to talk about, Uncle Mosh.
Here's the best thing about that. In the off season, you and I, even though we get together and talk about Raiders football, we do a little prep, we got some posts that we do. We get more done on Sundays in the off season, even when we get together for 3 hours to do a show.
Exactly right.
We still have to. We're not mopey afterwards.
No, not mopey at all.
We're not drunk. We're not, and neither of us drink. So
Yeah. There you go.
We just. But the idea that we can get together and just hang out and go over a few
fun little Raiders stories, right? That pop up, right? Just kind of talk some football, right?
Talk
it's
football.
Good time. It's good times. All right, so Mosh.
Hey, it could be worse. we could be doing a podcast about the World Cup. Please.
Gross. Was it like France and Croatia?
France and Croatia. I was getting my hair cut the other day, and they were actually talking about it, and I was like, am I really watching this? You know, they're going, because, you know, and they were trying to make it interesting. You know, they're going, yeah, so the last time France won, blah, you know, blah, and I'm like, really? Really? There's no more crooked organization in all of sports than FIFA. And there's spots.
Let me get the single cam shot on you right here.
I mean, I'm serious. You know, come on.
I would be lying if I told you I knew anything that had anything to do with soccer. I'm so far removed from any level of knowledge of any of it. I could tell you what happened at Wimbledon yesterday.
Oh yeah, that was amazing.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
but I couldn't tell you anything about FIFA. I have no idea.
And I will go on record as saying that a few years ago, when the United States, when their women, United States soccer women,
I
watched that. I called you.
Yeah, you were.
I said it was one of the most exciting sports things I'd ever seen.
Yeah, and I'm like, really?
Yeah, but because soccer is a great woman's sport. There it is.
Okay.
Sorry.
Well, sure. Just like tennis, is a great women's sport.
It's a great women's sport. I don't want to watch women's golf, but I will watch Tiger.
No.
You know?
I don't know what that means.
That means that there's certain things that I'll watch. I'll watch golf if Tiger's playing.
Yeah.
You know, but I don't want to watch. I don't want to watch. What's her name? Sorensen.
Right.
You know?
I got you. See where it's opposite for me. Like with tennis, I would rather watch Serena than watch the guys.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. I would watch.
Or when Capriati used to dominate.
Oh my God!
Or with Chris Evert.
Martina.
Yeah,
best legs in tennis.
There you go.
You know,
like I would much rather watch the women than. And now I liked Connors and some McEnroe stuff, but typically like Sampras, like is there more a boring champion than Pete Sampras was? Like
gosh,
terrible.
No.
Girls are much more fun to watch.
Beach volleyball. Let me watch girls beach, and it's not just because they're hot, and they are, but that women's beach volleyball in the Olympics is amazing. That's so cool.
Yeah.
You
all
know,
right. So
sorry, I digress.
Yeah.
Who brought up FIFA?
So remember that we were just talking about how we were going to do Raider talk on the. Okay. All right. So here we go. So pulling it back on the rails here. So So Raiders Fan Radio. So not a ton of Raiders news going on this week, but we do have a few stories that we want to get to. But I got a couple of fun Raider related things I want to share this week with you, Mosh. Number one, good friend of the show, interview alum of Raiders Fan Radio, Pete Koch. Who is a former Raider. In fact, we're going to catch up with Pete here in the next couple of weeks as he goes up and participates in the alumni events that go on around training camp, where the Raiders host former players. Pete's going to be one of those guys, and he's going to join us back here on Raiders Fan Radio, talk a little bit about what his experience was like, not only attending training camp, but his interactions with the players and coaches that are up there right now for the Raiders. So that's going to be pretty cool. Well, Pete, kind of what he does for a living nowadays is he works as a personal trainer, and he's an actor down in Los Angeles, and he does these videos on his Instagram. They're called his 30-second videos, and it's all about just like real quick hits about how to get in shape, how to lift properly, maybe a way to run, like different just little workout things.
Sure.
Well, this week on his 30-second video he dropped on Instagram, guess what he was wearing?
Clothes?
Yes. And guess what kind of clothes he was wearing?
Hey, he was wearing one of my T-shirts I sell.
Absolutely. You saw him wearing one of your T-shirts. So that was pretty cool that Pete Koch was rocking a Raiders Fan Radio T-shirt.
Was awesome.
That was very neat. So check out Pete. His Instagram is @PeteKoch, and you can find him there and just look for him.
How do you spell that? Just
Koch.
Okay,
so
cool.
It's PETEKOCH. So check out Pete Koch. It was pretty cool. He's representing Raiders Fan Radio with his shirt. Also representing what we do, our network, our Murph's Fan Cave network this week, Uncle Mosh, the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Fitz dropped this week. So
nice.
The first show, in addition to our flagship show of Raiders Fan Radio, that show put out by Chuck McCann, who is Splatterhead, and his co-host Tom Fitz. They released their first fan club show. So they called it episode number 0. got some great attention this week. Those guys did great. People, the response to it has been awesome so far, and I've been talking to Chuck a lot this week, and he's got some really cool stuff coming up. They're going to talk to a fan club from New England, not a Patriots fan club, but a Raiders fan club.
Oh, does New England have a team?
Well, but they are going to talk to the Raiders fans down there. They've also linked up with a few of the other cities, and they are going to bring in a competitive football team, a fan club for the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, cool.
That they found in New York, which is where, the northern New Jersey guys are, just outside of New York. So they're going to go and visit with this Kansas City fan club that resides in New York, and they're going to have former Kansas City players there with them on the show. So our guys, be thinking about our guys, Raider Nation, marching across the bridge from New Jersey into New York to go take on the Kansas City Chiefs fan club on their own turf. So
I'm getting chills.
I know. So it should be pretty cool. So I'm fired up for those guys. They're doing a great job with their show. So definitely check them out on the Murph's Fan Cave feed. That's the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Fitz. I got two more things.
Okay.
Two more Raider bites for you, if you will.
Come on with it.
I got a tattoo this week.
You did?
I did. I got a Raiders tattoo this week.
Yeah, you did.
I had a Raiders tattoo, Uncle Mosh, when I was 19.
Right.
I went and got the Tasmanian Devil wearing a Raiders jersey with the number 75 on it for Howie Long. I got that on my shoulder, and it was not a great tattoo. It was really old. The placement on it to begin with wasn't all that great. It was kind of a...
It was a 19-year-old tattoo is what it was. Before tattoos were cool.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I had the idea to... I've been wanting to cover it up or transform it or update it for a long, long time. I knew I wanted to follow it up with another Raiders tattoo. But anyway, so this week I had an opportunity to do that. I've been talking to one of our local guys. This is the coolest thing. So as we've said numerous times on our show, we live outside of Nashville, Tennessee, and in one of the suburbs, if you will. What San Jose is to San Francisco is what we are to Nashville,
exactly.
Right? So that's where we live. And so in our little town here, I found a guy from the Inland Empire, just outside of Los Angeles. I go walking in there. He's got a lot of tattoos. His name is Chavez, and he's wearing tall socks and a Dodgers hat.
Nice.
This is my guy. These are our people. And so I talked to him about that. He knew exactly what it was I described, exactly what it is I was looking for. He mocked it up. He did the work. It came out beautiful. It was fantastic. And so I just felt real fortunate. Definitely want to shout those guys out. It's Grace and Glory Tattoo here where we live outside of Nashville. And Milt just did an amazingly beautiful job on it. Been a long time since I had a tattoo as well, Mosh.
Yeah.
I kind of forgotten what it was like having 4 hours in the chair.
Yeah. And so tell everybody where they can see pictures of it.
Yeah, so check out go to Facebook there. You can find me. It's Murph Raiders Fan Radio on Facebook. Also on our Instagram at Raiders Fan Radio as well. You can see there's a picture of it.
Is there before and after pictures?
There is on the Facebook. Yeah,
okay,
there's a
cool.
before and after.
Cool.
So
very cool.
But that was pretty cool. That was something I've been wanting to do for a long, long time. So it was really cool to update that and always rep Raider Nation, right? Even without a shirt on, even though that doesn't happen very often. But,
yeah, exactly. Exactly.
All right, so the last thing I got before we actually start this thing.
What about that?
What?
Well, we're talking tattoos.
We're talking tattoos.
And I got a little bit of a tattoo story.
Oh my! Of course you do.
Because there's stories, right?
I need to hit the Uncle Mark Super 70s music there. Or does this have anything to do with the Coliseum?
No, it doesn't have anything to do with the Coliseum, really. But
okay,
I've had a tattoo that I've had issues with for a long time.
Okay,
and I got an M on each one of my butt cheeks. I'm sorry.
Is that the one when you bend over it says mom?
When I bend over it says mom, and when I stand on my head it says wow. And if I get really drunk it says wow mom, as I'm doing somersaults naked in the front yard. So, okay, that was a long way for an old joke. No, you YouTube people.
Boys and girls, pay attention. You got your old...
Go ahead. I was looking for the soundbite to hit. When we do this in post, the soundbite will hit right away. But for you YouTubers, you just get a chance to see what it's looked like as we
mess up.
Mess up through
and go.
I didn't get to my last story though.
Okay.
So how's this for a segue going in from tattooed mom on your butt cheeks to,
Yeah.
So Uncle Mosh, so last week we interviewed current Raiders long snapper, best long snapper in the NFL, Andrew DePaula.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm a gamer. You're not a gamer.
Nope.
You don't play the Madden. You don't play.
I play Candy Crush.
You play Candy Crush.
And I am ranked in the United States.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you.
And occasionally you are known to Wii Box.
I will Wii Box.
Or
yeah.
Wii Bowl.
I Wii Bowl because I can sit and do it.
But but other than that, you're not a gamer. I'm a gamer. I love some Madden. I play a lot of Madden, and one of the things that's been ongoing for a long period of time is that the long snappers in Madden, there's not a game mechanic to represent what you do in Madden or what you would do in the NFL to snap, right? So it's a very unique talent that these guys have. It's definitely a function and a mechanic of the real-life NFL, but it's not represented in the game at all, and because it's not typically the guys that are the long snappers, their ratings in Madden are terrible. So I brought up to Andrew the idea that was he disappointed that he did not have a higher rating in Madden, and jokingly said, do we need to take up the mantle and protest against the EA folks and try to rally them to make changes to the game. Okay. So that happened, right? Great interview, fun time with the guy. About 3 days go by, and wouldn't you know it, when I fired up Twitter one day, what one of the not trending topics, but one of the stories was on Twitter. What do you want to guess it was?
Are you kidding me?
Why aren't long snappers more represented in EA Madden NFL? Every time we do something on this show, it comes out, and isn't that the craziest thing? And no, look, I did that. Am I the only one to ever have that idea ever in the history of football and Madden? Probably not.
But you're the first one to go public with it.
I don't know. It's awful timely.
It's kind of like my wow mom joke.
Timely?
I don't know. But all right, boys and girls,
Go ahead. Are you ready yet?
I'm not going to say anything else.
Okay.
I'm done. Attention, you got your old Uncle Mosh here with an update. That's right. I got some stuff for you. Take out a piece of paper, a pencil, a pen. Heck, use your pocket knife and carve the info into your dashboard as you're driving down the highway. First off, you need to like us on our fan page on Facebook. That's right. Go to Facebook at Raiders Fan Radio Podcast. Don't forget about the Twitter. You know your old Uncle Mosh, he twits now. That's right. Go to at Raiders Fan Radio. Also, don't forget the Instagram at Raiders Fan Radio. Or what about our website? That's right, RaidersFanRadio.com. Heck, if you want to, you can even email us, show@RaidersFanRadio.com, or call us on the Raiders Fan Radio hotline, 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. Don't forget Merv's Fan Cave on the YouTube, where you can get all the show links like the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Fitz. Find all our stuff on podcast providers like Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. All right, did I hit the time limit? Good.
Good job, Uncle Mosh, on the contact info there. Absolutely. So please don't hesitate to reach out to us at any time. Contact us here for whatever, for here on RaidersFanRadio.com. So a lot of interesting stuff going on this week, Mosh. We're going to cover, of course, this is episode number 87, so we're going to talk about our player this week, who is, I'm not going to tell you. I think you already know who it is. Yeah, come on, right?
Is there any other?
So we're going to do that. I got a little bit on Gruden from OTAs. I know OTAs were a while ago now, but Raiders.com released some new audio on that, so we want to cover that. An interesting story about two members inducted into the California Sports Hall of Fame.
Oh.
An interview this week, Uncle Mosh. One of your favorites, Aaron, the Q-Dog Raider, joined me here in Murph Fan Cave. Had a fun time catching up with Aaron. For those of you that don't know who Aaron is, you're going to hear plenty about him later, but he's one of our guys. Like, he's one of the guys that from the get-go that kind of jumped on with us here at Raiders Fan Radio and not only supported our show heavily on social media and whatnot, but he's
He's a mosher.
He's a contributor, right? Yeah, he's a mosher, absolutely. So, he was one of the ones to early on to call the show, and not only call the show frequently, but well. So that that's one of the reasons that I decided to reach out to him and
he's close. He's close to having his own little segment, with Q Dog's hit list, man.
Pretty darn good. I got some highlights that I'm going to play for you here in a little bit. I made up a little audio bite of just kind of a culmination of a few different things that he's said over the years.
Nice.
It's pretty dang funny. So I'm going to play that for you. I think you'll get a kick out of that and you listening as well. So we're going to do that interview with Aaron, then a return to excellence, Uncle Mosh. We're going to check back in with our 2000 Raiders as they take on the Atlanta Falcons this week. And then that's it. And then we'll go ahead and move on from there. So to start it all off.
Hey, you want to update the calendar a quick hot second, though?
Yeah, so no show. Yeah, so no show next week. I've actually been invited to guest with the guys from the Pillaging Podcast.
Yeah, and I'll be taking a voyage into the nether region,
into Donkey World. So without you being available for the show, and then kind of with my podcasting time already going to be allotted to joining someone else on their podcast. Thankfully, those guys were gracious enough to invite me. So those two things, we're going to take the week off from Raiders Fan Radio. And frankly, being in the throes of non-news, this is probably going to be the best time if we are going to take a break. This is the best time to do it, being that after this week, Mosh, training camp starts. Training camp starts on the 23rd,
I
right?
can hardly stand it.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. So anyway, good time for us to take a break. But for this episode, so for episode number 87, so here's what we got. One, I'll count to 3 and we'll say the name at the same time. Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3. Dave Casper. Okay, all right. So number 87, there's only one guy to go with, right?
That's it.
It's Casper. It's the Ghost. Okay, first I got to say this. I've looked at a lot of videos of Casper over the years, read a lot about Casper over the years. There's a little bit of a misnomer about his nickname. I know. You're looking at me like I looked when I heard people say this. Oh, because he was so white and when he would wear the white uniform. I know. And because now he's the epitome of a Caucasian, right? The guy, he is the Midwestern, right? He's born in Minnesota, played at Notre Dame, lived in Wisconsin.
Terminally
Caucasian, right? Yeah. There you go. But that's not where his nickname came from.
That has nothing to do with it.
No, his nickname was from Casper the Friendly Ghost. Casper that debuted in the year 1945. Casper the Friendly Ghost. That's where he got the nickname Ghost. So, look, when we talk about Dave Casper and his nickname, that's where it came from. So quit it with the skin tone. That's goofy.
Why's it got to be about color? Stop
I know, man. It's silly, isn't it? All right, so Casper, Dave Casper, 66 years old, born February 2nd, 1952. And as I mentioned, in Minnesota, grew up in Wisconsin, and then went on to play, of course, his college football at Notre Dame. But why would we name our show after Dave Casper, number 87? Clearly from his Raiders tenure from 1974 to 1980. Uncle Mosh, he finished his career with 378 receptions, 5,216 yards, and 52 touchdowns. Most famous play for him would have to be Ghost to the Post. Also famous for the Holy Roller in addition to that. But I'd like to focus on Ghost to the Post. Before we get to that, though, I do have a little quick audio bite from the top tight ends in the history of the NFL.
Raider bite.
Dave Casper.
I have no idea how Casper would get the nickname of Ghost.
A great effort by the Ghost.
Thank you, Rich
Dave
Eisen.
Casper.
It's like a guy with big forearms getting the nickname of Popeye. I mean, who would think of that?
In an era when tight ends were supposed to be an afterthought, suddenly Dave Casper was a weapon.
A clutch tight end, and particularly a game against Baltimore.
Ghost to the post. I just like saying Ghost to the post.
Deep to Casper. Casper makes it over the shoulder catch.
The guy was remarkable.
A very remarkable adjustment as Casper managed to run under that high lob.
It was always there when Ken Stabler needed him most.
Our number 9 tight end spent most of his 11 seasons with the Raiders and Oilers, racking up over 5,000 yards and 50 touchdowns.
an Adonis who defines what tight end play is all about.
Best tight end that ever played a game.
Throws to Casper, complete at the 40.
Think about it. You got a tight end, 250. His arms are like an extra foot long. His hands are huge. His mother must have been a gorilla.
Brilliant recognized by the master of his position.
Look at our Super Bowl. He ran over Paul Krause like a pickup over a rooster.
Could catch anything and didn't care about getting hit.
Casper makes the catch. The old ghost to the post.
David was a great blocker.
You know, he could block 2 or 3 guys at once.
You had a tight end who could block and be a tough, run blocker in the trenches.
I always got into the guy. I very seldom made a mistake. That's what I took most pride in. To me, if I had a great day receiving and a poor day blocking, it was bad.
Crazy ghost.
Dave was told, don't sit on your helmet in practice because you wouldn't eat with your helmet on at lunch or dinner. That evening, Dave came to dinner and proceeded to eat his dinner through his face mask with a helmet and spoon and fork.
If you're going to be a great football player, you're going to be a little weird.
Great and weird sum up Dave Casper and his most famous play.
The Holy Roller game against San Diego.
Action peaked with only 10 seconds to play.
Stabler back. Here comes the rush. He sidesteps. Can he throw?
The ball got fumbled, it got bobbled, it got kicked.
The ball flipped forward is loose. A wild scramble.
When play ended, Dave Casper had the winning touchdown.
You know, I was just there.
It is rolled a fumble. Casper has recovered in the end zone.
And if you look, it was just pure luck.
On the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play. Madden is on the field. They said, get your big butt out of here. He does.
And I played 11 years, and I had some success. And what do I remember before? Being a fumbling fool at the end of a holy roll, or whatever they want to call it.
This one will be relived forever.
All right, there we go, Dave Casper. So, it's funny, Mosh, is that he kind of plays down the holy roller a little bit there. And I think kind of fairly, because, it was a heady play, but it wasn't like a crazy athletic play. He kicked the ball in the end zone and fell on it. You know what I mean?
Fell on a fumble. He was like a guy made his living catching the ball. He falls on a fumble.
Yeah.
That's what linemen do.
Yeah, exactly, right? So, if anything, it was, like you said, a heady play to kick it. But so let's celebrate, though, the ghost to the post here a little bit. I want to talk about that play. When you watch it, Mosh, now that play, for those of you that aren't familiar with it, it was a 1977 divisional playoff game against the Baltimore Colts. This is not Shula's Colts. This is kind of the Burt Jones, kind of the reemergence of the Colts. And Casper makes an over-the-head catch. I believe it was 42 yards from Stabler. It was on like a 3rd or 4th and 20, something like that. And he makes the catch, and it gets them into field goal range and allows the Raiders to then tie it up 31-31. And then Casper then caught the game-winning touchdown in overtime for the Raiders to win. So a few things. So number one, this is one of those classic Raider games with those classic Raider names, right? Goes to the post. But goes to the post was one play, okay? And as brilliant as that play was, Casper caught 3 touchdowns in that game. Casper then also caught 2 more touchdowns in the next game, which was the Rob Lytle non-fumble game.
Right.
To make 5 touchdowns in 2 postseason games. Uncle Mosh, do you know that still today that is a record
no
in the NFL?
Kidding.
5 touchdowns in those 2 games, absolutely. And so
it's been 40 years.
And it's been 40 plus years. 40 plus years, yeah. So, just an amazing highlight. And when you watch that play, something else that's kind of misconstrued about that is it's called ghost to the post, right? So when you think post, right, you think your tight end or your wide receiver running the route and then cutting in towards the middle of the field where the post is, right? But when you watch that play, he kind of veers in, but the pass is on the outside. So what he's doing is he's running and looking up over his left shoulder, but the ball is coming down over his right shoulder. So his head has to come down. He's got to reset and then go back up and find the ball up over his right-hand shoulder. Now, Stabler will tell you he didn't make a great pass. Kenny said, I missed it. I disagree, because when you watch the play, I think, God bless Kenny Stabler, I don't know if he just didn't remember or if he's just being overly humble or what, but when you watch the play, there's 2 defenders on Casper. One's trailing him, and the other one is on his inside of his left side. So Stabler throws him open, essentially, and Casper comes up and makes that basket catch looking up over the top. It's brilliant, man. I mean, it's, here we are, like you said, 40 years later, but still the athleticism, his ability to find and adjust to the ball in the moment with defenders on him, Stabler dropping it right in. Kenny can say he didn't make a great pass all he wants. He freaking dropped it right into the basket right there on Casper.
Exactly.
As he's 42 yards downfield. That's a long way to throw a football, Mosh. So, I really want to celebrate not only that play, but Stabler and, of course, Casper, though, his contribution to the Raiders. Clear-cut Hall of Famer in 2002, I believe he was inducted, and just one of those kind of guys that just absolutely represents, epitomizes the Oakland Raiders on, I'm sure, many people's Mount Rushmore, and none better than for episode number 87 here on Raiders Fan Radio. Uncle Mosh, what do you think?
Absolutely. Totally agree. I mean, you said it all. I mean, seriously, what can you say? I mean, there is no other option.
This is Pete Koch, former Raiders, Los Angeles Raiders, that is, defensive end, and you're listening to Raiders Fan Radio.
It's a good thing we have more than one segment on this show. Otherwise, I could be caught into get me on those guys of the 70s, man. I'll just ramble on them forever. Those are my superheroes for sure. So, all right, Uncle Mosh, another fun story that came up for this week, and this is actually a real life, true to goodness story. This actually happened this week. This didn't happen 40 years ago. We're not hitting into the Wayback Machine for our Raiders news this week.
All right, let's hear it.
This week, Cliff Branch and Tim Brown inducted into the California Sports Hall of Fame.
It's about time.
This is our favorite part of the night, where we induct new members into the California Sports Hall of Fame. Ladies and gentlemen, number 21, Cliff Branch.
First and foremost, for me, I'd like to thank God Almighty for all the blessings that I have received in my lifetime. And tonight is another one of those special blessings. When I got drafted by Al Davis, the one thing he always taught us to understand in the meeting are pride and poise and commitment to excellence. Those were his slogans. He lived by it, and I understand in the meaning of those slogans.
Ladies and gentlemen, one of the greatest Raiders and one of the best to ever do it, Mr. Tim Brown.
It is a distinct honor for me to be here tonight. I do everything in the state of California because Raider Nation loves me. And I know that they love me, and I try my best to be with the Raider fans as much as I possibly can. And even though they're everywhere, I love spending time in the state of California, and I'm deeply honored to be here for this award. So thank you very much, everyone. I appreciate everyone coming out, and God bless you. Thank you.
There you go, Uncle Mosh. Tim Brown and Cliff Branch inducted into this California Sports Hall of Fame. Yeah, long overdue.
Did you like what Cliffy said when I got drafted by Al Davis?
Not by the Raiders.
Nobody else says that. Nobody says when Art Rooney drafted me, no.
Yeah. It's always Al.
Yeah.
Pretty cool.
That's very cool.
I think that's definitely a testament to the relationship that Al had with those guys. And okay, so Uncle Mosh, Cliff Branch and Fred Biletnikoff are typically tied together, right?
Sure.
Because they played together side by side for so long. Very rarely have, at least I've ever seen, Cliff and Timmy kind of tied together. Now they are clearly as both members of this 2018 induction class. You call it an induction class?
Induction class.
Induction class. So certainly tied together there. But I've never taken an opportunity to look at their stats side by side. So Uncle Mosh, let me ask you. I'm gonna read you some numbers here. I want you to tell me whose career would you have rather have had. So when we look at Tim Brown, who is in the Hall of Fame, he finished his receiving career just shy of 15,000 yards and just shy of 1,100 receptions and right at 100 touchdowns. 0 championships.
Wow.
Cliff Branch, 3 championships, just shy of 9,000 yards, and 500 receptions, 67 total touchdowns. Now, Cliff Branch caught for 1,000 yards in his career twice, once in 1974 and once in 1976. Tim Brown, and this is the reason he's in the Hall of Fame, had 1,000-yard seasons from 1993 until 2001.
Wow.
Only once did he even come close, and that was in 98. He had 1,012 yards. Only time did he come close to not having it. And in 1997, he had 1,400 yards. So, I mean, clearly from the numbers, it's Timmy. Longevity, it's Timmy. Timmy played 16 years. Well, actually 17 if you count his 1 year with Tampa Bay. But so 17 years versus Cliff played 14 years. But Cliff's got 3 championships. Cliff played for all 3 Raiders Super Bowl teams. Uncle Mosh, what do you got? Who do you like?
You gotta look at when you're inducting someone into the Hall of Fame. You look at a couple things. You look at numbers. You look at longevity. But most important, you look at impact player. And when you and that's where, and I'm not taking anything away from Timmy. I mean, obviously a major impact player. Yeah. But Branch was a huge impact player. To be there for all 3 Super Bowls, holy
and
moly.
Perform and do well.
And not just be, just another guy there as an impact player, but to be to make a difference in the outcome of a game, that's what gets you into the Hall of Fame.
I'm with you, and I think it's sad that, well, it's not sad that Timmy Brown is in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's sad that Cliff Branch is not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And I think when I look at Hall of Fame type players from the Pro Football Hall of Fame perspective, I like to look at what you're saying. What is the impact that they had? And what was the impact that they had at the time in which they played? Because I think when you start comparing eras, it gets a little wonky.
Sure.
If Dan Marino played in the NFL with today's rules, he'd probably throw for 6,000 yards every year. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. There's no denying that.
When you look at the way that, as much as we glorify and celebrate what the Raiders defenses of the 70s did, those guys couldn't play. Tatum couldn't go up and hit people up underneath their jaw like he did. You know what I mean? That'd be a flag nowadays, or you'd get suspended. You can't play. So it's hard to compare eras, but I think that when you look at, were you dominant in the era you played in, and were you the best at what you did during that time? There's no arguing Cliff Branch. I mean, if Stallworth and Swan are in the freaking Hall of Fame, why in the heck isn't Cliff Branch, right?
Because he's a Raider.
Whole world's against us, Mosh.
Absolutely. Hey, you just transgressed. You just went back to 40 years ago. You did it. You did it again. You go, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to talk about what happened this week. But no, you were able to twist it.
This happened last week.
You were able. Saddle up, little buckaroos. Raiders fans are for life. Other podcasts have taken the long dirt nap. But you've got Raiders Fan Radio. We're the wagon you've hitched your horses to. Mosey along with us as we ride out of the light and ride off into the dark side.
All right, Uncle Mosh, as I mentioned at the top of the show, we have a pretty cool interview this week with Aaron, the Q-Dog Raider. Aaron has been a frequent caller to our show, big supporter of our show. And, when we started the show, we didn't have any intent other than, occasionally listening to a message or taking a phone call. But we quickly learned that the feedback and the listener provided messages and stuff was a highlight. I mean, it was a lot of fun checking in with and there's a lot of guys and gals that have participated in it. And so we refer to you as a made man or made woman when you call the show and you get featured 3 times. And Aaron was one of the first ones to do that, and again, to do it well. And so this week, with all the kind of the downtime that we have here before training camp starts, we had an opportunity to catch up with him. I invited him to join me on the show here for a quick interview, and Aaron did. And as usual, he's funny and engaging and entertaining. And so I hope you guys get a kick out of listening to our buddy Q-Dog.
The soundbite.
Yeah, we're gonna pause it. The YouTubes won't hear it. It'll feed back in.
Oh no! I meant the combo, the culmination, the highlight video. If you did.
Oh, the highlight of him. Okay. Yeah. Well, thank you. I'm like, what is he doing? What are you doing, Mosh?
For those of you on the YouTube,
so for those of you on the YouTube, there's a little how the sausage is made here, right? So let me bring that up. Thank you for pointing that out, Uncle Mark. So here we go. Q-Dog highlights. So we have so I made up a little. A fun little.
Wait. All right, Josh. Hey, so before you go to the Q-Dog interview, let's play a highlight so people get an idea of who Q-Dog is.
Every offensive coordinator that he went up against for the past 2.5 years, far too late, but you know what? Right on time.
Derek Huckabee Sanders going up there and giving excuse after excuse, and I guess he was trying to take the blame for whatever it is that product was out there on the field. Once again, Murph, Sonny, salutations. The consigliere, Uncle Mosh. Love you, baby. But look,
love black, live silver.
There was no heart. We make up for a lack of scheme with a total lack of tenacity. Tenacity. That word means to go after something doggedly. To go after something, like you wanted to win, like there's nothing more important in the world. And you know what? We crapped the bed.
The offensive line act like they've been in the Dago dungeon playing patty cake, down there with Harvey Weinstein or something. But you know what? Time to sack up, man up. This is unacceptable. Get it right, boys. Later. Oh, by the way, I'm a made man at the third call, baby.
Todd Downing, Cheech and Chong couldn't put together, a more ridiculous scheme than what you executed this past Sunday, or whatever. I'm so angry I've lost track of days. Seth Roberts, hey, he's got to go. We can't have a dude that looks better than my sister, and she's hot. Time for the hit list. Once again, Johnny Holden, you on it. You're going to stay on it. We're going to double tap that career, man, because you know what? You need to be out here on the next thing smoking.
I'm thinking about, this thing of ours, this thing that, gives us hope, too often makes us sad, the Oakland Raiders.
Reggie Nelson, if he takes another bad angle, I tell you what, I'm going to have to come on the field, and tighten his wig up. If I'm not mistaken, did we have a Clive Walford sighting? Hey, man, I thought, I was going to have to quit drinking milk because he'd pop up on the back of that carton with his ugly-ass mug. But you know what?
So there's the Q-Dog highlight reel. So that's why we invited him to join us on Raiders Fan Radio. He's one of the best. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get to our buddy Aaron, the Q-Dog Raider. All right, Uncle Mosh, what'd you think?
I just love him, man. He absolutely kills me, and I'm so glad that I came up with that idea of you interviewing Q-Dog.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. You did. It was a few shows ago. You had said something about bringing him in for a segment, and
I could just listen to him talk all the time. Going back to his before you played that segment, his highlight video, his highlight reel. He talked about Harvey Weinstein, Cheech and Chong, and his hot sister. Yeah. He's so funny.
He's so funny.
And but you take away the humor and all that. He's dead on most of his comments.
Yeah.
He's just, other than wanting to, tighten up Reggie's wig, he's really insightful, man. And he's got some good stuff, man.
He does. He's got some good takes. He's definitely right on. You can tell he's well informed. Definitely. I mean, bleed silver and black. There's no doubt.
He cracks me up. And what a great story too.
Absolutely,
and he's living right in the throngs of no man's land.
That's why you guys like each other so much. You both hate the Steelers equally.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So absolutely. So thank you to Q-Dog for joining us here on the show. That might be something that we might need to do a little more often. Chuck, of course, is part of Murph's Fan Cave, part of Raiders Fan Radio now with his own show. Aaron's definitely one of those kind of guys that if you know, so inclined, he's definitely able to and talented enough and funny enough and entertaining enough to be able to do his own podcast. But yeah, we'd like to bring in maybe some of the other guys, maybe, who knows, Johnny from San Diego or Ron in Ohio or, you know, Emiliano, Big Raider Trucker. I mean, there's a lot of guys that are a big part of what we do.
Absolutely.
Raiders Fan
All
Radio.
of them.
And
we couldn't do without any of them.
Absolutely not. And that's one of the things I'm looking forward to as we get back into the season, Mosh, is that we can, you know, go back into the Sea of Fans mailbag and start hearing from everybody every week. So look forward to that. So thanks again, Aaron. And yeah.
That was good. That was good.
This is Andrew DePaula, long snapper with the Oakland Raiders. You're listening to Murph with Raiders Fan Radio. Just win, baby.
All right, Uncle Mosh, one last thing to get to before we get out of here today. And we're going to revisit the 2000 Oakland Raiders. We're going to check in with them as they take on the Atlanta Falcons. We've been visiting every week the Return to Excellence, which is the audio documentary of the Raiders 2000 season. And we're going to check in with them. And this week they take on the Falcons in the Falcon Feast.
The following Sunday had the Raiders at home for a Thanksgiving weekend feast of a different type of bird. The Atlanta Falcons didn't have much of a running game, passing game, and with the Raiders clicking from start to finish, these birds didn't have much of a chance either. It was the Falcons who actually got off to a quick start, though, as they scored on their first possession of the game. But once Tyrone Wheatley cracked the end zone for the Raiders, there was no stopping this offensive juggernaut on the ground or in the air.
You zap the solo left, tight end right, 94, hustle. Richie ahead of Wheatley in the eye. They'll try it again. Wheatley up the middle, and this time he goes in standing. And he greets the folks in the black hole with a Raider touchdown. Let's go. That got you going slick.
Then it was Tim Brown.
10-7. Rising started left. Now goes back right. Gannon blitz. Going to throw. Brown wide open. 20, 15, 10. Foot race 5. Touchdown. Timmy Brown.
Back to the ground with Zach Crockett.
First and goal on the Atlanta 8-yard line, trying to make this a 24-7 game at halftime. Here's Zach Crockett up the middle. Touchdown. Raiders.
The Raider offense was in complete control of the overmatched Falcon defense. The Raiders also dominated on special teams as well, and it was just a matter of time before David Dunn would take advantage.
David Dunn will creep up, take it on the Raider 12, right, 20, 25, 30, 40. He may go midfield, goes behind Anderson. He's gone 30, 20. David Dunn, touchdown, Raiders. An 88-yard kickoff return for a score. And now he leaps into the black hole.
The David Dunn kickoff return made it 31-7 Raiders, and the route was on. In fact, there was even a James Jett sighting. He yielded a big part of his playing time to newly acquired Andre Rison, but when given the opportunity, Jett showed why he's still a valuable weapon in the offense.
A rolled out by Gannon. Now throws for Jett. Got it. 35-40. Jett midfield. He's gone. 40, 30. They will never get him. 10. Touchdown Raiders. What a run by James Jett there. 84 yards. He cooks Ronnie Bradford, and the Raiders have opened up a 37-7 demolition of the Atlanta Falcons.
It was just the kind of blowout the Raiders needed after playing and winning so many hard-fought, close games through the first 11 weeks of the year.
The effort was outstanding.
The 41-14 blowout of the Falcons gave the Raiders a record of 10-2, tying them with Tennessee for the best record in the AFC. The final quarter of the year remained, and that would decide whether or not the Raiders would get home field advantage throughout the AFC playoffs.
All right, Uncle Mosh, there you go. Feast on the Falcons. A couple things that jumped out at me. Boy, it's been a long time since the Raiders and Titans were both good at the same time.
I know.
God, remember back in the day, like we were the two of the best teams in the AFC, man. We used to beat the crap out of each other. And I mean, oh my gosh. The first game you and I ever went to here, or on the road anyways, was against was Raiders Titans.
Yeah.
I want to say it was 2001 or 2. So it wasn't the Super Bowl year, but it was 2000. It might have been wasn't this year. It wasn't the year 2000.
No, it was after that.
Was it 01 maybe?
It might have been 01. Yeah.
But it was a Christmas night game.
Early,
it was a lot of fun. But anyways, so a long time since those two teams have been good, which hopefully we are on the precipice of that. At least certainly our Raiders need to come back. Titans won a playoff game last year. Raiders didn't. So hopefully the Raiders are close to doing that. But more importantly, returning kickoffs for touchdowns.
Yeah, David Dunn. Was that the last time?
It might have been. No, it wasn't. But, I mean, I say that jokingly, but it feels like it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's been a long time since we've had any kind of special teams contribution at that level. And, man, we really, really need it. You know, when we brought Cordero Patterson in last year, that was kind of the expectation that he was going to provide a jolt back to those special teams and didn't. So hopefully now Ryan Switzer takes the turn, and hopefully young Ryan Switzer can contribute because we brought in Patterson last year to do it, and all we got was Jalen Richard fumbling kickoff. So anyway, so hopefully we get some good production back out of that. But, yeah, pretty fun, though, checking in with those Raiders. Don't you love hearing John Gruden's enthusiasm, too? The effort was outstanding. You know what I mean? You got to love that, man. You got to love it. All right, Uncle Mosh. I think that brings us to the close of another episode of Raiders Fan Radio.
I think so. Quick and painless.
Quick and painless. It's the off season, man.
It's the off season. Yeah.
So thank you for joining us here for another episode of Raiders Fan Radio. As we mentioned, we're going to be out next week, but definitely check me out on the Pillaging Podcast with Kenny and Che. The guys have become good friends of ours, and we definitely support what they do over there. And so you can check me out on their show next week, and then we will be back, Mosh. We will be back full speed the week after that. I'm not sure when we're going to catch up with Pete, if it'll be that first week after or the second week after, but definitely we will get Pete on the short list. So we have one other interview that might be that I'm kind of working on this week. If that does come up, I might drop that just on its own.
Okay, and we're all caught up then. See if we don't have anything else in the can. We're good.
No, that's it.
Okay.
That gets us out. And again, we got a couple more things working, but nothing not locked down. You know, we don't like to announce anything until it becomes a thing.
Anyway, no. There's no sense in that.
Yeah, no sense.
No sense in that.
No sense in that. So
you don't want to do that.
Yeah. So anyway, so like and subscribe to us, please, on iTunes. That's a great way to support Raiders Fan Radio. You can subscribe to us on the YouTubes.
On the YouTubes, you can go to our the Facebook page and the Instagrams and the Twits and the Wits and all that and. And Google Play.
Google Play?
Yeah, and let me see if I remember anything else.
The other one.
Spotify. No, not Spotify.
Yeah, well,
Spotify
yeah,
and Stitcher.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the one I always forget.
Mosh.
Yeah, you know.
Who stole my Uncle Mosh and replaced him with Mark Zuckerberg over
I know.
Start calling you Uncle Bezos.
Yeah, you know, I'm a social media guru.
You are, in fact. Hey, what about T-shirts? Are we out?
No, we have this is what we got. We got 5 smalls, 2 mediums, 4 extra larges, 3 larges, and about 2 or 3 double X's. So we're down into single digits on everything.
Single digits on everything. So get those orders in. Thank you to you all that have purchased one already.
Absolutely.
And so definitely get your Raiders Fan Radio T-shirt before we release the new logo. So get the retro shirt, the first run shirt.
The first run. These are first runs too.
The first run shirt. So so one of these days that might be worth something.
That would
I don't
be
know
cool.
what it would be worth, but you know.
What's the update on the Uncle Mosh bobblehead?
You gotta quit bringing that up. I might be working on something for you. You're gonna get me to reveal my plan and my sources here on the show. Yeah. So, all right. So, thank you again for checking us out here at Raiders Fan Radio. You can email the show at Raiders Fan Radio. You can email me directly, Murph at Raiders Fan Radio. You can email Uncle Mosh, Uncle Mosh at Raiders Fan Radio. So, yeah, please continue to get in touch with the show. Thank you for supporting what we do. Most importantly, go Raiders. And the next time we talk to you, we will be in season, 2018 season, Uncle Mosh. We made it. We made it.
Through the dark side, into the dark side. It's all about the dark side.
And we'll cut it there.